Namaste and greetings. I, Priyanka Negi, researcher at IMPRI Impact and Policy Research Institute, Prabhav Evam Niti Anusandhan Sansthan, Nai Delhi, extend my warmest welcome to you all to IMPRI Web Policy Learning. Today we are gathered here for the last day, day 6 of LPPYF Law and Public Policy Youth Fellowship Cohort 2.0. The chair for the program is Professor Vibhuti Patel ji, visiting distinguished professor at IMPRI. The fellowship lead advisor in expert legal hands-on sessions is Advocate Dr. Shalu Nigam ji, visiting senior fellow at IMPRI. The distinguished experts include Advocate Dr. Flavia Agnes ji, women's rights lawyer, co-founder Majlis Legal Center, Mumbai. Professor Dr. Seena Paul ji, Professor Department of Economics, MD Shah College for Women, Mumbai, Advocate Dr. Albertina Almeida Ji, lawyer and human rights activist, Goa, Dr. Keetvi Bolineni, President, Vasya Mahila Mandali, Vijayawada, Dr. Vaida Nayanar Ji, independent researcher, gender and human rights consultant, Dr. Aksa Sheikh Ji, Associate Professor, Community Medicine, Hamdard Institute of Medical Sciences and Research, New Delhi, Ms. Elsa Marie De Silva, founder Red Dot Foundation India, president Red Dot Foundation USA. The conveners for this course are Dr. Sini Mehtaji, CEO and editorial director at IMPRI, and Dr. Advocate Dr. Shalu Nigamji, visiting senior fellow at IMPRI, and Dr. Arjun Kumarji, director at IMPRI. Welcome everyone to this insightful discussion, and I appreciate your dedication in investing your time, energy, and commitment to gain a profound understanding of the crucial role and intricate details of legal and public policy frameworks. This program aims to empower participants with the ability to grasp the nuances and complexities of legal and public policy paradigms, offering both theoretical insights and practical skills for research. Furthermore, IMPRI is proud to be releasing an anthology of the first cohort very soon. This anthology consists of all the reports that fellows of Cohort 1 had submitted, covering a diverse range of topics from international human rights, constitutional laws, filing of right to information, PIL, nuances and awareness of laws relating to violence against women. This anthology strongly reflects research and valuable insights of the first cohort. IMPRI believes that these essays will be a valuable resource for researchers, scholars, academicians, and society at large. The reports not only delve into public policy issues surrounding various societal problems but also provide practical recommendations. Looking ahead, IMPRI with its LPPYF Fellows of Cohort 2.0 will also bring about a special nuanced edition of IMPRI publication titled LPPYF, an anthology of essays on promoting human rights and ending gender-based violence. This will be an ISBN publication with our fellows as contributing authors to individual chapters. We look forward to many such submissions in this cohort and extend our wishes to everyone. Today's sessions will include a valedictory session by Professor Vina Vaswani ji, a program presentation session with the team, and of course, we have with us Professor Vibhuti Patel ji for her remarks. In light of the same, to start the session, I would like to invite Professor Vibhuti Patel ji for her opening remarks. Ma'am, over to you.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, good evening, Dr. Vina Vaswani and dear participants. Thank you, Dr. Arjun Kumar, Dr. Simi Mehta, Ms. Priyanka, Ms. Ashtaba, and whole IMPRI team for putting this course together and getting all the sessions in an extremely synchronized manner. We also thank all the experts who have come up with a very illuminating discussion based on their grounded experience. We began the day one with the whole perspective on gender-based violence, which is an ongoing emergency in its own right. And we also explained the genesis of this acceptance, global acceptance of the perspective that women's rights are human rights. And then we had veteran feminist Flavia Agnes, who shared her experience of 35 years of involvement in fighting her own experience of facing domestic violence for a prolonged nearly 16 years, and then how she came up from a victim, how she became a survivor, and also a very important feminist activist. And she shared the experiences of Majlis law, and their intervention in the state-supported programs like Rahat and providing the institutional support to survivors of sexual violence, as well as the minor and using the POCSO Act also for minor sexual victims of sexual violence who are underage. In day 2, we discussed that it was Dr. Albertina who explained the legal battles, that how while fighting the legal cases of gender-based violence, what kind of challenges that you are facing. She also talked about some of the draconian laws that are also creating this whole rape culture, and also giving so much of power to the state to use gender-based violence as a force to subdue the population and the communities. Dr. Shalu Nigam's hands-on session, both in day 1 and day 2, were very important. First of all, she also put the whole perspective of 3 generations of human rights in a proper perspective, and she also focused in various forms of gender-based violence, especially the question of dowry. Then she also took up the question of sexual harassment at workplace. And day 3, when we had a discussion by Dr. Kirti Boleneni, she herself being a survivor of domestic violence, and her organization Vasavya playing an important role in Andhra Pradesh, working with the government and also starting several one-stop crisis center in the state of Andhra Pradesh. She shared her experiences of Vasavya Mahila Mandal. Dr. Shalu Nigam's third hands-on session, which was on dowry death, she talked about the law implementation, the bottlenecks in the implementation, and cruelty against married women, and whole controversy around 498A and 304B. That also she took care of. And then we had a whole discussion on very animated. All 3 days we had an extremely animated discussion with the participants who are themselves have done a lot of homework, and they also have a first-hand experience, either working in the court or in the National Commission for Women, or as a very, very committed researcher on gender-based violence. Day 4, we had the presentation by Dr. Vaida Nayanar. It was a special lecture on the International Human Rights Day, and there she talked about her global experience, because Dr. Vaida Nayanar has sat on several international jury on whether it's a war crime or ethnic cleansing, and how whenever there is a conflict, the account is settled on women's body, and the work that the UNHRC has been doing. She shared her experiences there. Dr. Aksha Sheikh spoke on human rights of the LGBTQIA plus community, and she also talked about the kind of persecution, stigma that they are facing, and the intersectional vulnerabilities faced by the transgender community and those who are gender minorities, and that resulted in a extremely, in fact, both Vaida and Aksha Sheikh's lectures were such that participants were completely bowled over. They did not even have the courage to ask them any question, because they were absorbing whatever new insights were put forward by both Dr. Vaida and Dr. Aksha Sheikh. And then we had a 5th session where we had a discussion on so many new aspects of gender-based violence, and Dr. Shalu Nigam's focused on the importance of social and economic rights and political rights. She also focused specially on right to food, and she discussed threadbare with the PUCL's public interest litigation on right to food, and how Professor Upendra Bakshi talked about the constitutional politics that is emerged in our country. And all three presentations on day 4 were quite mind-boggling. And as it was a International Human Rights Day, very next day, so we also ended up with the pledge that I will respect your rights regardless of who you are. I will uphold your rights even when I disagree with you. And when anyone's human rights are denied, everyone's rights is undermined. So I will stand up and I will raise my voice. So that was the commitment we all gave. And day 5 was the 16th of December. We had a presentation by Elsa Maria de Silva. Again, a very important dimension she brought out. And she shared her experiences of Red City Mission, Safe City Mission, of the Red Dot, and she discussed the experiences of their work in Kenya, in Nairobi, Brazil, Kwaza City in Philippines, and Satara in India. And she also said that we need to work with men, and how the Red Dot Foundation encourage young men who were earlier harassing women. They themselves became an animator, because once the discussions took place. So, and all these 5 days were responded by the participants very proactively, and that's why we feel that the whole course has been in terms of the quality of discussion, quality of deliberations, and the expansion of horizons of our sensitivity and sensibility. It was a grand success, and now we have equally erudite and experienced scholar, expert, Dr. Vina Vaswani. Over to IMPRI team.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for beautifully summarizing the program so far. You have definitely set the stage for our next speaker, Professor Vina Vaswani ji. Professor Vina Vaswani ji will be giving today's valedictory session, and she's the director of the Center for Ethics and Professor, Department of Forensic Medicine and Toxicology, Yennapoya University, Mangalore, and a visiting professor at IMPRI. Ma'am, we welcome you to our session, and over to you.
Thank you very much. At the outset, I'd like to thank the team IMPRI for such a phenomenal job that they always invite the best in the field, and they make sure at the end product, which is tied up very neatly into a very informative booklet or document, so that you can continue to read, learn, and then gather your experience from it. Because I have learned a lot, because I've also been a person who has registered for many of these programs, and also from bringing the forensic lens into focus when we talk about the gender-based violence and how we are trying to get some equity out of it. So thank you. And talking about the law, public policy, youth leadership, cohort 2.0, I should say, looking at the participants' profile, it's been a huge success, because that is what is the essence of a lifelong learning. Each of us have something to bring to the table. And then when we put it together, then the combined kind of interaction, a reflection, introspection goes a long way in establishing something that can be called, we could say, a best practice guideline or so. So when I'm speaking here for the valedictory, I'm aware of my limited position in which I'm bringing something new to you, but the expansive position is where I can bring from forensic lens, which you can try to amalgamate in the broader horizons of society. Now, when it came to human rights, we have been knowing a lot about human rights, but at the same time, we also saw the gap, why human was not equivalent to women. It took a long time for us to realize that it's when we say man, we mean only man, and we really don't mean women. And now that we know it means women, we have still left out transgender from our equation. So when we are hardly able to grasp what is the gender all about, we have made a lot of rules and regulations. Now, as a result of which, it has to be unjust to someone, because if the voices are not heard. I shall be bringing, specially coming to what I see in forensic practice. I was the first lady in the state of Karnataka. So when I started doing the usual work of medical legal things, the police were not happy about it. Many times they waited till my male colleagues turned up. The very simple reason, you don't want to salute a lady. So the whole question of patriarchy, the belief that women are not somebody that we should be respecting, but we should be calling shots, correcting, teaching, preaching, advising, and that is the role that is given to women. And it's not beyond, it's not over yet. When you see the conflicts even in the workplace, you realize so many of them are dominating based on gender. I have started committees where a woman is a head clerk, but the males are not taking orders from her. No, you cannot order us around, you are a lady. So now coming to forensic, how does that impact? Does it even make a significant difference? I would like to say it makes a huge difference. For instance, when I sit in my OPD for a medical legal cases, or when I'm called upon for a medical legal case, there is a domestic injury, a number of, this is not the first time, past history of domestic violence, but ultimately in my report, what goes down as an injury caused by a blunt weapon, the context does not come into picture. Why? Why doesn't it come into picture? Because our medical legal system is such that we expect the police to explore the context, whereas we as specialists will only comment about type of weapon and not the intentionality. Now, when you break a picture of an elephant into 100 pieces and throw it around, how can you be sure that you will get one big correct picture? And this is one of the reasons why in the medical legal setting, we are not able to impress about the magnitude of the domestic violence that we are handling. Similarly with dowry deaths, similarly with the burns, we are only interested what caused the death and not the context of how it was, because we leave it to police. Now what happens to the police? Madam, we had gone for a dying declaration. First she had said that she was set on fire by mother-in-law, but then she has changed. So we have not even kept the first one, only the second one is there, where she says that she was not put to fire by anybody else, but it was her own self. So now at forensic, we don't have people doing it. And here we have police who are so easily led by the voice, the strong voice of the family, which is mostly male. Now, where is the justice? Now we have lost it, because at the very first time when the FIR is being lodged, many a times it is not taken at face value. And I'm also, because since you all have sincerely put your experiences, I would also like to tell you how we have gone through this and we haven't got justice. And I'm on the forensic side, right? There was a time a commercial sex worker was exploited right inside the police station. She was sexually assaulted. But when she went to register a complaint, there was nobody to register. They even told her that we will put allegation of soliciting sex if at all you are coming. So we went to help her so that she is able to register a complaint. But the kind of abuses that were hurled on us, it was like no good. Even the women's police station, I would like to bring to your note that it is not that only men are heaping violence against women. Women are also equally responsible to taking this forward, a culture of violence against women. Many a times, a sufferer becomes literally endorsing the view of violence because she says, I've gone through it, let them also go through, that will make them tough. Secondly, the fact that if you behave like a male, probably people will respect you more. If you behave like a female, then they may not respect you. So that is why even in the female police station, all women are there. You can hear the choicest of the abuses heard. Last time I visited was 6 months back. Somebody whose FIR was not registered 4 years before. And now they're saying we shall come and check that place and then we will see. But then 3 times the houses have been changed. What are you going to do? But no. So what I intend to tell you is there is a lacking credence given to the history when a woman goes to a police station. And at the same time, if she has a husband who is very strong or a person against whom she is going very strong socially, this woman does not get any kind of justice. So the FIR doesn't get lodged. And later on, if she manages to lodge an FIR, then it is treated that she was tutored by somebody. That's why she rested for some time. Now she wants to make money, so she's coming in, registering an FIR. So if you look at some of the gory cases, 2023, whether it was Hathras, whether it was Kathua, we see a strong patriarchal behavior towards upholding a particular community or males who are bigwigs. And no amount of violence can be shocking at that point. It's expected to happen because women are labeled to be somebody like that. So the reason why we need to look at and introspect is not just the aspects, because I'm so happy that throughout your course of 15 days, you have got such stalwarts who are not theorizing, but they have had a lived experience. A lived experience, and they're bringing to you with an action potential, which you can use it very well in a way of framing policy. Or you could, another way to use it is using your window of foreseeability. I can see a lot of things going wrong at the very fact a complicated case comes to me. So the first thing we need to do is see through your window of foreseeability where you can put checks in place, where you can prevent such time from escalating, where you can stop discussing this on social media because he's a VIP and draw attention unduly of people, but where you need to maintain discreetness, you have to maintain discreetness. But today what is happening is many a times the media trial happens, which is not bad in a way, but the justice sometimes is very lopsided. It is like when in the earlier days, when the schools began, gymnasium, oratory was one of the biggest skills. Everybody wanted to be a good orator because you could get justice. You could speak across, you could influence everybody. It was not a point of who was right, who was wrong, but how nicely you spoke. And today in social media, whoever cries first, whoever cries wolf, wolf, gets justice. And if you're talking of rural women, you're talking of women who do not have much access, then it can be totally counterproductive. And one of the reasons why we are falling short of doing due justice is also the fact that whenever we have big numbers of increased maternal mortality, or let us say female feticide, somewhere the investigation does not end with a preventive policy. It takes a long time, the gap between the first ultrasonography clinic and the PCPNDT Act. By then it has set in a chain of motion through which female feticide has become talk of the town. It is okay, it almost gets a sanction, everybody can do it. And to my knowledge, many of the gynecologists themselves also do it because they think there's nothing wrong, you can be choosy about. But my question is, where is the choice? Where is the justice? Having a choice does not necessarily mean it is correct to exercise that choice. So over a period of time, the injustice in women has literally continued unabated, especially because we're not able to tackle the patriarchal nature. The nature which is patriarchal, and it's also true that in an equality or in an unequal state, the person who's at a positive advantage will never want to lose that advantage. He would say that it's not my fault that I'm a man, but these privileges come the moment I'm born. And these are not your privileges. If you look at even in a very small way, when we talk of a post-graduation, when we finish our MBBS, we have an entrance for MD. If you get, let us say, a brilliant score, but you get married, so you're not able to continue for some time, or you have a child, but then within 3 years, if you don't register back, you're to face one more entrance exam. But my question is, who are making these rules? Are they even aware that for a newly married lady or a pregnant lady to get settled and join back, it takes more than 2 years? Then that is to say that people who make rules are not the people who are ladies. And so there's always a kind of blind spot, professional blind spot, when it comes to making rules. So this is again where we do a lot of injustice when it comes to higher education. There are a lot of MBBS doctors. When it comes to MD, there's a difficulty in getting that. Similarly, when we talk of a lot of fields like mathematics, like pure sciences, many of the parents are quite aghast at the idea, who saying, as a girl, why do you want to do it? I think 2 months back, I was having a huge interaction with graduates who had just passed out at the pure science level. And I was asking, aren't you taking physics further? No, my parents said not physics. You can take something else. I said, why? If you have a talent, then why not take physics? But the question is, we still harbor that bias. So one of the reasons we need to question is, why are we having this bias? And is this bias affecting us in any way? My mom must have been very, very, let us say, traditional. She did not allow me a growth into a very full-fledged lady. But does that mean I should do the same thing because it's a learned behavior? I've been brought up in these circumstances. So can I endorse and that this is the only way to behave and to bring up a girl? If we do not vest them with confidence and give them a kind of facilitation to harness their dreams, we are cutting short their dreams because we have a stereotypic image of what the girl should do. So imagine the kind of different layers which intersect. That a girl is born, first of all, she has a problem being born, because like 80,000 female fetuses are literally eliminated every year. Now, if she is born in a traditional family, the huge problem with, does she have atmosphere to grow? Does she have atmosphere to educate? Even now, we are struggling to dialogue with parents whose daughter has passed BA, but she will not go for MA. She has to get married. The son has passed 12th standard. They're ready to do anything to get him for higher education. So we have encouragement, no limit for a boy. Whereas for girls, it's very, very limited. So if that happens right in the household you're born to, we are all responsible for it. Because we as a society, we breathe such a thing that world is unsafe. We have made it a point to say world is unsafe, let her not go out, let her not earn anything, let her just get married and go, our responsibility is over. But is that the bright future of the girl? Because when you look at graduates, many of them, in fact, I have some of the students who said they qualified for medical, but they were from rural area, so the parents didn't want them to. Very simple at that. You have to go 600 kilometers to be a doctor. We are not allowing you to. It's not safe. So that is, we are not only talking about system outside, but the system within us. And why is it within us? Because we have a bias. Now, we don't have a bad meaning bias. It is not patriarchal bias, but it is the bias that we are growing with. Stereotyping, or a kind of, I would call it a learned behavior. It becomes our second nature. Time and again, we start questioning, should we ask somebody, is it safe? Is it this? If we are making the world unsafe with our thoughts, even before the unsafeness outside is proven, then we are stopping girls from developing into something. So actually, when I'm looking at the kind of training you all went through, especially how the human rights became the women's rights, because we are very fortunate to have Dr. Vibhuti, who's adjunct faculty even to our center. And she had opened a lot of our eyes to a lot of people who started looking at the personal perspective, a professional perspective, a way how we can change our living, change of thinking. And that is what is called the transformational change. I knew that I have this rigid thought, but over a period, over the discussion, it transformed me. So I have changed my position from, I have unfrozen from that position to I have come to this position. That's a transformational experience. And I'm sure you have all undergone this experience through this. So it's a huge step forward. And when you're going away from this course, remember, you're always connected to the course, because what you have learned from here, you'll always see that you can continuously apply it, and the course prospers. It flourishes when you're trying to use it and get back the feedback to you. So that is why when we talk of gender-based violence, we know that it's like an enemy within us. We need to question our stereotypes. We need to question the society in which the violence happens. We also need to question the place where it is detected, where they're not doing much to detect it. And we also need to question the investigating officers. How are we aware that in a year, 73,000 cases do not see the light of the day? They're closed because lack of evidence. Now, how do you get an evidence if you don't collect it? Who is to be blamed for not collecting evidence instead of prematurely closing cases? And that is how justice doesn't get served. So I think I'm very fortunate that I'm having an opportunity to talk my thoughts aloud with you, because I look at you as the torchbearers who take a strong message from here, and each of us to be more vigilant, to more in solidarity with the people who we can help, and to give a helping hand whoever we can, and also pass on that the gender-based violence, we are all in it together. And we have to uphold the rights of the women, of the child, of the underage girls who are getting forcibly married or forcibly getting pregnant and they don't have a reprieve. So at the whole spectrum, we need to look at the dignity from a newer light of human dignity, which is indivisible. It is the day they are born till the time they die, and even whenever the body is there, the indivisible dignity to every human person. So that's what we should affirm. And thank you once again for having me here for the valedictory. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. I would like to thank you for adding I must say, a significant dimension to our sessions through your thoughtful reflections. And ma'am, since we have Vibhuti ma'am with us, ma'am, would you like to give some remarks? Ma'am, you're on.
Yeah. So, Professor Vina Vaswani, for an extremely illuminating valedictory address. And you have also, the United Nations has declared for 8th March 2024, the motto is invest in women, accelerate progress. So I think your valedictory also address resonated with the UN mission. And I'm really happy that we got you for the valedictory address. Thank you very much. And you would also know that what kind of participants, extremely creative, and they are going to make presentation in a various ways. It's not only the paper, but it would be poetry and images and all that. So if you till you have time, you can. Otherwise, you have to. Yes.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you for your.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you, both the experts. Ma'am, we can move forward with the presentations for the day.
Yes.
Yes. So I would like to request the participants, whoever is ready.
Priyanka?
Yes, sir.
We can also take some questions if participant can want to ask.
Yeah,
sure, sir.
Yeah.
Participants, if anybody has a question
or even intervention or discussion, deliberation, whatever, because you all are equally experienced and
sure, ma'am.
Yeah.
So if anybody has anything to share with us, any question, anything to put in this session, please raise the hand, or you can type as usual.
Or unmute yourself and speak also. Yeah.
Of course. Yes.
I think they are too keen for their own presentation. They really worked hard over the last 6 weeks. I think maybe that's the
should we start with the presentations then?
Yeah.
Okay. So regarding the presentations as well, whoever is ready can raise the hand and we can move forward with you.
Okay. Devyansh, you want to go first? Devyansh? Or is it Sparshji?
Yeah, wait a minute. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yes. Just wait a minute. I have written a poetry and I'm trying to share it. Just
Okay, Astha, you can stop share so that Sparshji can share.
Yeah. Can you help me out with? I am not able to see the screen sharing option over here.
Yeah.
Please join us panelists, then you can do that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Is it visible?
No.
No.
You can just recite. No, it's okay.
Yeah. I can do that actually.
No, you try once more if you have. That will be good.
Yeah, just
okay.
Wait a minute.
Go to
actually,
share.
it's just written over there, so it would be easy basically.
You have opened the file?
Yeah, I have opened the file.
Okay, then go to share screen. When you'll do share screen, then a lot of windows will pop up within the Zoom window.
Yes, yes.
Can you find the one
Just,
you have to project?
just
Just
wait
click
a
on that.
minute. Yeah. Now I think.
Yeah, it's visible. Yes, it's
Right.
visible.
Yeah. Yes. So basically, good evening, everybody, and thank you so much for this fellowship experience. So basically, I had taken up the yeah. So basically, I had taken up my research work as I wanted to understand ASHA workers and Anganwadi Didi's experience. Their all of their entitlements, legal rights. When we say human rights, all the rights come into picture, and the treatment, the dignity and all. तो बेसिकली मैं एक हिंदी लेखिका हूँ, हिंदी में लिखती हूँ। तो मुझे लगा जो फीलिंग्स, जो एक्सपीरियंसेस, जो बातें मैंने सीखी उनसे, समझी, जो उनकी कहानी मुझे आपके साथ शेयर करना चाहिए। तो मेरी जो कविता है वो वैसे तो इतना कुछ है कहने को, इतना कुछ है जो मैंने कुछ 3 गाँव कवर किए जिनमें मैंने आशा वर्कर्स और आंगनवाड़ी वाली दीदियों के साथ बात किया। और ये समझने की कोशिश की कि क्या उनके अनुभव मैंने जो सेकेंडरी रिसर्च की है, जो न्यूज़ लिंक्स में पढ़ा है, उससे अलग हैं या कुछ और कहानी मुझे जानने को मिलेगी। तो मैंने 2 शहरी क्षेत्रों में जो किया, वहाँ पर आंगनबाड़ी वाली दीदियों से मुझे लगा सब कुछ बहुत अच्छा है, सब परफेक्ट है। उन्हें कोई दिक्कतें नहीं है, सब अच्छे से हो रहा है। तो मुझे लगा फिर मुझे गाँव में भी जाना चाहिए और वहाँ मुझे आशा जो एक्रेडिटेड सोशल हेल्थ एक्टिविस्ट है, उनसे भी मिलने को मिलेगा। तो कविता मेरी कुछ इस प्रकार है। नाम है उनका एक्रेडिटेड सोशल हेल्थ एक्टिविस्ट यानी आशा। वर्ल्ड हेल्थ ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ने उन्हें उनके कोविड के दौरान किए गए कामों के लिए था नवाजा ग्लोबल लीडर्स अवार्ड से। वही जिसके लिए एक आवाज उठी थी ना, अवार्ड तो अच्छा है पर इससे पेट नहीं भरता ना। अवार्ड अच्छा है पर हम थक चुके हैं लड़ते लड़ते न्यायपूर्ण मेहनताने की, काम की स्थितियों की अथक लड़ाई। तो आज हम किस्सा गोई करेंगे इन आशा दीदियों की जिंदगी में मौजूद आशा निराशा की लुका छिपी की। हम ठहरेंगे थोड़ा गांव की सेहत और सामाजिक चेतना की मशाल जलाने वाली इन स्वास्थ्यकर्ताओं के बीच। तो हुआ यूं, जब जब मैं पहुंची करने साक्षात्कार इन दीदियों के, तो सरकारी डर था उनकी जबान में छाया। जो एक्टिविस्ट नाम के साथ लगा है ना उनके, उसकी गुंजाइश भरा सरकारी सीमाओं में होती है कहाँ। धीरे धीरे मेरे विश्वास बनाते जाने के साथ किसी ने बताया कि उनके तो काम के कोई घंटे ही फिक्स नहीं है। कभी भी किसी भी वक्त हर स्वास्थ्य की मूल और इमरजेंसी की जरूरतें निभाती हैं ये दीदियां, खासकर दूसरी औरतों और बच्चों की साथिन बनकर। वही जिन्हें सरकार मानसेवी कहती है, मानती नहीं वर्कर्स मानती नहीं वर्कर्स उन्हें, तो एक असंगठित मजदूर सी गांव की सैकड़ों देहरियों पर सलाह, सेवा, विश्वास और सहयोग का फिर करती हैं आग्रह। तो 2-4 हजार जैसे मानदेय के दरमियान वॉलेंटियर कार्य की बदौलत ग्रामीण स्वास्थ्य की रीढ़ को संभालने की कोशिश करती हैं ये दीदी। रात बेरात मूसलाधार बारिशों के बीच एक प्रसव में तड़पती औरत की आशा यह दीदी खुद अस्पताल में जब ले जाती है साथ अपने, तो अपने लिए कोई अलग से सुरक्षित जगह नहीं है पाती। और जब वह खुद मांगे मातृत्व अवकाश तो हो जाती है विद्रोही। वो चली जाए हड़तालों पर वो चली जाए हड़तालों पर क्योंकि ताबड़तोड़ महंगाई के इस दौर में उसकी 2,000-4,000 की इस अनियमित आय की क्या है बिसात। धरने और हड़तालों पर जाने का प्रशस्ति धरने और हड़तालों पर जाने का प्रशस्ति इस कदर मिलता है, कभी मानदेय काट लिए जाने से तो कभी थानों में हो जाती है एफआईआर, और खो देती हैं कई बार वे इस मानसेवी काम का छोटा सा मौका भी। जिस किस्म से औरत घर के भीतर बच्चों बूढ़ों की देखभाल का घरेलू अवैतनिक काम करती है, पर ना ही इज्जत और ना ही देश की अर्थव्यवस्था में पाती है हिस्सा, वैसे ही शायद आखिरी कड़ी की सबसे अहम इन कड़ियों को भी मिनिमम वेजेस से भी कम, बिना बीमा, सुरक्षा, पेंशन के चुकानी पड़ती है कीमत देश की प्राथमिक स्वास्थ्य और सामाजिक जरूरतों की। लाडली बहनों को उनका सरकारी हक दिलवाने वाली ये कार्यकर्ता क्या नहीं है लाडली? लाडली बहनों को उनका सरकारी हक दिलाने वाली ये कार्यकर्ता क्या नहीं है लाडली? आयुष्मान कार्ड के टारगेट्स पूरी करती है दीदियां, इनके आर्थिक, सुरक्षात्मक और मानसिक आयुष की चिंता करेगा कोई? क्या भारत में तेजी से कम होती वर्कफोर्स में महिलाओं की हिस्सेदारी के बीच हम ये सवाल करेंगे खुद से कि आखिर औरतों को कब तक लड़नी होंगी ऐसी लड़ाई? So yeah, it's done. I I just wanted to end this poem with this humble acceptance of the fact that I have been a UPSC aspirant for almost 8 years and I have studied so much. I feel so. But when and I have worked with the government also. I have visited many Anganwadis of my district earlier in other district. But when I, interacted with with these Asha Didis from a very, personal perspective, I was super duper shocked that I have been a mentor also. और मैं लोगों को कहती थी, बच्चों को कहती थी कि आप मेडिकल पढ़ रहे हो तो आप एएनएम का कोर्स कर लो, आशा का काम कर सकते हो, एएनएम बन सकते हो। लेकिन अब मुझे इस चीज को कहने में बहुत हिचकिचाहट होगी, because I found it below dignity. A lot of the working conditions they are working in is quite below dignity. Human rights शायद बहुत बड़ा शब्द होगा, लेकिन उनकी तो जो बेसिक एक वर्किंग कंडीशंस हैं वो ही सारी चीजें मिसिंग है. So this is all I wanted to say. Thank you so much.
Salute. Very good. Excellent. It shows, your commitment and your ground level experience. And but I think once you clear your UPSC, you will have power to amend the situation, because we have seen that in so many district level, though the ASHA workers are getting less honorarium, but district commissioners use their power to give them additional facilities such as safe transport and see to it that they are not overloaded and there are enough toilets and all. So I think as a powerful person, you can also use your power for betterment of their living condition. And also advocate for better remuneration and better compensation to ASHA workers. It's very important.
I had exhausted my attempts, so I have I believe the social sector from outside the administration has still a lot of power to influence the policies. So I will try now that sphere because my attempts are done.
Okay.
So thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. But really, your power of words is unique. Extremely powerful you are in your process.
Actually, I had published a book. It's available on Amazon, and one of the poems had discussed about. You must have heard about the Kerala tea garden workers agitation by women. The women workers
in Maur. No?
Yes, so I had written back then also Do Patti Ka Shramnath, because the pictures which were in news were very powerful. Under the rain, heavy rains, they were sitting and they were protesting, and they won that battle also. तो मुझे हमेशा लगता है कि लड़ते तो रहना ही चाहिए.
They did not allow the established unions to take over the leadership. All these young men in their 20s, they fought heroically. Yes. In Tata's tea gardens. Yes. Thank you.
Yes.
I think they should be translated. Someone should volunteer to translate it into English. Such a powerful, at least in Hindi, it's extremely powerful.
And the meaning should not get lost.
You should share it with Dr. Jashodhara Dasgupta. She is leader of the Asha Didis. No? Asha.
I'll mail her. Because I had read her papers also. You shared with me now.
And you have her both, mobile number as well as email ID.
Thank you so much.
It will reach them.
Yes, correct.
So they have a newsletter also of Asha workers.
Okay. Wow, that's great. Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you so much, Sparshji. That was really powerful portrayal by you. If you can see the chat box, your fellow participants have shared, all their love for this poem, I must say. And thank you so much for presenting it today. We can move on now, ma'am.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Next, whoever would like to go can either unmute or you can raise your hand, please. Bharti Agarwal ji, would you like to go?
Hi, good evening, everybody. Sure, if nobody else is in the line, I could go. Mine is, just a second. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, mine is a little musical performance. I don't want to call it a song because I am speaking in the middle of it at a lot of places, so as to contextualize what I'm saying. My research was based on the demands that were kept forward by civil societies when sexual violence laws were being amended in 2013. My research project will focus on contextualizing rape as they understood it and wanted the laws to understand the same. But there were so many other more demands that I wanted to highlight. So this creative project is on that. I do not go into the details. It is a slight brush over. And because I see so many people who've been added as panelists, if you don't mind, it would be amazing if you could join me at the chorus. The first line is the chorus, so I think it would be hard to pass. And if I am still visible. Okay.
Yeah, I think now everyone can put their video on so that we can see their expression also. But yeah,
Sure, and it would be really amazing if everybody
because
could
we
join
are
me at
small
the
in
chorus.
numbers, so I think there won't be problem of bandwidth. Yeah.
And this musical composition is influenced by musical mystics. I wanted to give them the credit for the same.
Who are you giving you credit?
Musical mystics. So
Music.
they are a group which also performed at 10-year anniversary of Posh.
Yeah.
So I took the inspiration from them. And the chorus is what I believe is the strength of all civil society bodies. It's the essence and importance of the same. It is also what I think will help us change the law and society and reality one day. मिलजुल के 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 मिलजुल के. One of the demands kept forward by civil societies was that marital rape needed to be made a punishable offense. एक महिला की लड़ाई है जो केवल उस महिला की नहीं, समाज हमारा बदल रहा, ना जाने क्यों परिवार नहीं. रसोई में ही रहे वो, हर किसी की बात माने वो, रहे कैसे वो यूं घुट के, रहे कैसे वो झुक झुक के. मिलजुल के 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 मिलजुल के. Another demand that the societies had kept forward was that just before 2013 amendments came in, there was a law being discussed in the parliament which stated that the law needed to be gender neutral. And all civil societies came together to say that the perpetrator had to be gender specific, because when it became gender neutral, the laws will not be favoring the victim, will not be helping the victim. तुम जानते हो, मैं जानती हूँ, तुम जानते हो, मैं जानती हूँ, करने वाला हमेशा एक ही है. फिर क्यों बढ़ने के नाम पर हम बनाए कानून हल्के. मिलजुल के 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 मिलजुल के. When they raised this demand, civil societies also acknowledged the fact that the victims were not just women. They were also people belonging to other gender identities. And so if the laws had to be gender neutral, only the victim could be taken as people from other genders. पीड़ित है वो, मगर अकेली नहीं. यह बात सच है, मगर खुशी की नहीं. क्योंकि ये बात है बाकी के अल्पसंख्यकों की. महिलाओं के साथ भी हो रहा अन्याय तो हो रहा यह अत्याचार कहीं और भी। बच्चे, बूढ़े, दलित और LGBTQI, फिर क्यों मच रहा परिवर्तन के लिए शोर नहीं? अब और कितना शांत रहना है, अब हमें और कितना सहना है? परिवर्तन अब लाना होगा, मन में चिंगारी को जलाना होगा। तुझे जो बांधे हैं उन बेड़ियों को तोड़ दे, क्योंकि जीना है तुझे भी खुल के। कैसे? मिलजुल के 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 मिलजुल के। Another very important demand that civil societies kept forward was the fact that their work did not end with just laws being amended or their suggestions being considered. Their work was only beginning there. Their work also had to be included with monitoring mechanisms, with collaborations, with partnerships between government, public, and the societies. सरकार की आंखें खुलेंगी, न्यायतंत्र भी अब बोलेगा, नागरिक निकाय तुम्हारे साथ हैं, समाज भी अब सुनेगा। इस सच्चाई को हम साथ में बदलेंगे। तुम पूछते हो कैसे? मेरे साथ सीने को फुला के बोलो, मिलजुल के 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 मिलजुल के। Thank you.
Thank you. Really.
Thank you so much, Bharti ji. That was a really brilliant, lovely presentation. Over to you, ma'am.
You're telling me?
Yes, ma'am.
Bharti ji, I think it's a very good because it has a tempo of a march song and it's very inspiring and it also gives a lot of energy. So I think you should get along with the music. I think it should be also like go disseminated widely as a chorus, and I think it can be used in the next year's campaign, of this thing, violence against women, from 15 days violence, and otherwise also in all the march songs, it will come as a very powerful march song and very impressive. So congratulations.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And just during the course of this fellowship, I've started working with an NGO called PARI, which is People Against Rape.
Oh, yeah, with PARI, okay.
Yes, ma'am. So I'm working with PARI, and I think it just resonated so much more to the cause and to my academic work as well, because I've always worked with civil societies as an actor in policy making. So I think this came very personally to me. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
everybody,
Bharti ji.
for the chat and reactions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We can move forward, I guess. Next up, anybody would like to voluntarily come forward?
Astha? Asthaba, why don't you go forward?
Sir, I just have a presentation. Should I do it now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, just a sec. Is my screen visible? Yeah, so I have not done a research as such, but I decided to write an essay on women in conflict zones. And this idea came to me after looking at the current situations. Either we talk about Northeast India or Gaza or Yemen, etc. Women in conflict zones, it has multifaceted realities and not just one, which we will talk about, specifically targeting the partition of India. So I would like to begin with a quote by Margot Wallstrom, who was special representative of the UN Secretary General on Sexual Violence and Conflict. And she says, sexual violence is a way of demonstrating power and control, and it inflicts fear on the whole community. And it is unfortunately a very effective, cheap, and silent weapon with a long lasting effect on every society. And I think it's very touching and true when she says that, because the lasting effect of partition can still be felt almost after half a decade. And moving on to distinct dimensions of women's experience during conflicts, we can say that violence against women is ingrained in gendered frameworks like that of society, culture, religion, and it pervasively infringes on the basic human rights of women, life with dignity, life of equality, etc. And during conflicts, we can see that women's bodies become sites of conflict, and women then have to face violence and humiliation from both external and internal sources. External being the state or the perpetrators, or from the opposite side, and internal being the fact that violence during conflicts also increases within households. And they become the bearers of community honor, and their mobility being restricted as a result of their increased vulnerabilities during this time. And women also face violence not in just one or two ways, but multiple fronts, like that from the state militants and their own homes. And it is not just limited to physical or sexual violence, but also psychological effects, which are long lasting, and I don't think are uh, accounted for most times. Women, and on top of that, because of economical restrictions and loss of livelihoods, women then fall into traps of sex work and drug trafficking in order to survive during conflicts. And in addition to that, the fact that their exclusion from government institutions, maybe during uh, the partition, or from the Northeast, or even today, leads to the fact that they do not have much say in decision making processes. And in addition to that, in conflict zones, the administrative measures that the state takes, for example, the AFSPA, the Special Forces Act that comes into picture in conflict zone, or which gives very extraordinary powers to the Indian Army or the security forces, has led to facts, led to instances of rapes, murders, encounters, etc., which I don't think is reported as much. Um Moving on to the partition, uh, mm, partition as something that happened on 15th of August 1947 is a celebrated fact. Though it has a dark side to it, it is not much discussed, owing to the fact that there were leaders that had given their lives, etc. And all of that only happens in conversation. The dark side does not. So I want to bring that into the picture. During partition or any other conflict, there is a assertion of identity that the group needs to do, and by each community, and this was done by forced conversions and marriages in order to assert the power over the opposite side. This affected the women the most. There were suicides and murders that happened. Suicides because women feared abduction by the opposite side of the border, and in order to protect the so-called honor that the society had given to their bodies, they died by suicide. I would not say commit suicide, because that is not a crime that they did. They died by suicide, and some were murdered by their own families for the same reason, and some committed, like died by suicide even after they were left by the abductors, because they knew they would not be accepted in their own families. Forceful recovery that happened after the partition by from both the sides had placed women in such a position that they had no agency for themselves. They were neither allowed to stay with the families that they had come to accept. They had married, and they even had children from the opposite side of the border, and nor were they accepted in the families that they had before the partition happened. And all of these factors led them to become permanent refugees, not accepted anywhere in the society, and had to live in ashrams, completely bereft of any family connection. Um, they were reduced to mere Muslim and Hindu objects by the state that needed reclamation of women as citizens, as prizes that they can showcase, that these are the number of women that they have recovered even after partition by so much state policies and actions. However, the government policies that came at that time by both the governments of the borders, they had decided that they would not recognize forced conversion or forced marriages that happened because of the partition. And this, in fact, delegitimize all the children that came out of such unions. Imagine having a child and then the child not being accepted as a legal citizen from any country that you are living in. Also, the fact that the state was supposed to be the protector of the citizens, was supposed to be secular in nature, it turned into a patriarchal body that had its policies that completely went against the morals or the basic human rights of women that were there. And the prevailing sentiments of the officials to deal with the process of recovery of the people who were displaced was of unemotion and practical, to be unemotional. But then the women whose there was also a policy that said the women who had children while they were displaced to Pakistan, they had to come back to India, but they cannot carry their own child with them. And this fact that how would you justify the policy as such? This cannot be justified by anything to separate a child from its mother. So I would like to, at the end of my presentation, which was a short one, I would like to ask some questions that we must even introspect within ourselves, that why are women's bodies considered as sites of conflicts? Time and again, we've seen that. Also, what are the facts that legitimize the violence that happens against women so often and so much? And how do we break the system that sanction these forms of violence? Because even during the recovery processes of people who are displaced against, we saw that even the security forces and the police forces were reported to have committed violence against women from both the sides. So how do we break the system that sanctions these forms of violence? And I think we also need to understand the intricate nuances that play a role effectively in conflicts, even like most importantly, because of the fact that we see conflicts happening in and around everywhere right now in the world, and some that are there in the media, some that are not, but does not mean that we ignore it or do not take into account. So thank you.
Thank you, Ashtabaji. You have made a very powerful statement, as well as the exposition of the how the patriarchal mindset of the state and non-state actors perpetuate this kind of women losing their dignity and citizenship right, and just being all the accounts by the two conflicting parties settled on women's bodies, and even they being so insensitively separated from their own children. And currently also it is happening in Gaza, in Kashmir, in Northwest, in Yugoslavia, in Ukraine. There are nearly, I think, 46 places on the planet where these things are happening day in and day out. But we need to continuously ask this question, and we have to be the conscience keeper of the civilization. Nobody can be complacent about it. Excellent presentation. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Asthabaji. Shalu ma'am has also shared her comments in this presentation. She says that thank you for raising such an important concern, and quotes there are many such cases about the identity and nationality of citizens from both the sides. Thank you, Asthabaji. Next, who would like to go next? Vibhuti Chaudhary ji, would you like to go? Vibhuti ji, are you there? Would you like to go?
Ma'am, Vibhuti is my sister. Actually, she had chosen women in conflict topic, and she's a bit sad that's somebody else has also taken the same topic.
So what? The
Yeah.
perspective, position, treatment may be different. That's not a
Yeah,
problem.
although she is like still is in office, so she's not able to speak out or present much. But she was writing to me. I'm like, you can write in research essay as well, right? She can submit the essay,
Yeah, she can submit.
right?
Yes.
So
It can be submitted.
she has been in Kashmir. So we were discussing that she can bring up some Kashmir stories as well, right?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I'll ask her. Yeah.
Okay, and next, Sushant Jhaji.
Ma'am, I'm sorry, Professor Ms. Patel and Priyanka ma'am, because I was traveling. I was in Bhubaneswar, and this week only, means Sunday, I came, and then I was into a lot of. This my fault. It's my fault, but I was into a lot of things going on parallelly with IIM and IITs. So I was busy doing those course of actions. This is equally important, but I'll submit it for sure with a very good with a very good all the description for sure. I'll take all the steps what Vibhuti ma'am has said during one of my course of discussion. So I'll do it, ma'am. I'm sorry that I can't able to present.
Thank you.
Today.
We can understand. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
There
Sorry,
are emergencies in our lives. Yeah, correct. No problem.
Debarti Chaudhary ji, are you there?
Debarti ji presented last time.
Last time she presented, yes. 3 presentations have already taken place. Yeah.
Were we done with Arushi Chopra ji's? I think we were.
Yeah,
Yes,
I think
presented
she
last
also
time.
presented.
Yes.
Yes. She did, yes.
Anybody left? Out of the people present, I think we're done with everybody.
Okay, then we can go to chair's closing remark or feedback.
Yeah. Feedback of the participants, yes.
Yes. Okay.
Sure. I would like to request the participants to kindly unmute yourself, open the video if you're comfortable, and share your feedback for the entire program. We can start with Sparshji, I think.
Yeah.
Hello everyone. So I think, expressed this quite many times that this opportunity is very special, especially because right now I'm working with women at the grassroots in political space, and we have held some meetings regarding what do you understand by empowerment. So here especially as far as law is concerned, so I've understood things from legal perspective as well. So I can take our meetings and sessions regarding legal awareness someday. I mean, now I'll find out ways because without laws and without being aware about these legal rights, सारी बातें सिर्फ हवा हवाई हो जाती हैं. One thing is this. Another thing is this opportunity to interact, as I have told, to interact with the grassroots workers. And I have to mention this two particular comments which are still in my head. I met this Anganwadi Wali Didi in my own colony. And my mother has been a social activist kind of person, everywhere helping out. So she is very famous, but I haven't been here forever, like for a long time. So when I met her, she was working with the children and some of the women, and I was waiting for her. When she'll get free, I talked to her. And she was sitting down on the mat, and I was sitting on a chair. When she got free, मैं नीचे आई, उतरी, उनके सामने बैठी और मैंने बात शुरू की. उनकी आंखों में आंसू आ गए. I couldn't understand why she was emotional. she told me that आपको पता है बहुत बड़ी बात है, आप नीचे उतर के हमारे लेवल पर आकर हमसे बात कर रही हैं. It shows that you have so much respect and humility like your mother and your sensitivity. कि ऐसे नहीं है कि कोई ऑफिसर आया है तो टाइप्स जो होता है ना कि ईगो. That was a compliment for me. You know, as a researcher also I have read. I haven't done research but I have read in sociology theoretically कि आपको respect करना चाहिए आपके subject की, आप जिनसे बात कर रहे हैं.
Subject नहीं, respondent. We don't.
Sorry. Yeah, this word might
Positivists
be.
call them subject. We don't call
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, sorry. The
Participant.
word itself speaks a lot.
Either
So,
participant or respondent.
जी, तो वही चीज मुझे उस दिन लगी कि और मैंने काफी सारी बातें वहाँ जो महिलाएं थी उनसे भी बात की, हमने पोषण अभियान पे बात की. तो अर्पिता जैसे यूपीएससी एस्पिरेंट हैं आप, तो हम किताबों में पोषण अभियान की बड़ी तारीफें पढ़ते हैं, लेकिन जब आप जमीन पे सुनते हैं तो आपको लगता है कि सारी गलती सिस्टम की है. आपको वहां समझ में आता है कि नहीं, उनका काम बहुत डिफिकल्ट काम है जब उनको ट्राइबल्स के साथ डील करना होता है काइंड ऑफ. तो एक वो बड़ी बात थी, और एक और बात थी जब फर्स्ट डे मैंने अपने एक पर्सनल रिलेटिव के डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस के केस में अपना एक एक्सपीरियंस शेयर किया कि हाउ डिड आई डील विद इट. सो आई वाज टोल्ड कि it itself is a very courageous step to interfere in a family ka domestic violence situation. I really respect what Arushi shared, because it takes a lot of courage when you're sharing your own story. मतलब लोग क्या कहेंगे हमें लगता है. तो मैंने अपने घर की कहानी आपके साथ रखी, आरुषि ने अपनी जिंदगी की कहानी रखी, तो ये बहुत बड़ी बात होती है. तो वो चीज मैंने एक पर्सनल कॉम्प्लीमेंट की तरह ली, मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा. मुझे कहा गया कि करेज ही शुरुआत है. And uske alawa, Professor Vibhuti Patel had helped me a lot. I had talked to Jashodhara ma'am as well because of for this work, for this research. And I loved reading her papers. And I think और भी आगे मैं interaction उनसे करती रहूंगी, और मुझे बहुत कुछ सीखने को मिला. उसके लिए बहुत सारा शुक्रिया. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sparsh. आपके जैसे रिस्पॉन्स से हमें we feel that our life is worth it and the efforts are worth it of the IMPRI team. They put in really a lot of hard work for such courses. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sparsh ji. Arpita ji would like to go next.
Yeah.
Yes. So, to just start my talk, I would like to say that I am right now going through my final course of viral fever medication. So, yet you can make that out with my voice.
I'm just released
I'm
from
really
the
sorry.
nursing home, so don't worry. For 10 days, I was
Yeah.
hospitalized. Okay.
It is an influenza season going on right now. So, but there was one thing, I think I woke up by 6:10 or something evening. I took a nap, and then something made me wake up like this, because that was IMPRI, because so much learning. And I suddenly realized that today was the last day and I can't afford to miss it, because so far what we have learned is not just any fellowship that we have gone through. It's not just any normal fellowship. This fellowship has opened our eyes. This fellowship has inspired us, not just the panelists, not just the lecturers, not just activists who gave so much presentations, so eye-opening presentations, but also the participants like me, also my co-fellows who have inspired me a lot. To take some names and give them some credits. Today, Sparsh ma'am, I really liked your poem, and that was so heart touching, in fact. And also the presentation by Astha ma'am. The presentation the topic itself was so nuanced, and it was, I think, easily ignored by so many of us. Although we had gone through, so many newspaper articles, somehow it was, out of our mind. It was not the first thing which we would think of, and that was a really good presentation by Astha ma'am. And also Arushi ma'am, she gave a really brave presentation, and nobody could ignore the amount of courage she had to put up with that day. And she really inspired all of us by giving such a presentation. And also the poster it communicated really well what she meant. And yes, speaking about myself, I was I don't know, I'm falling out of words because I feel so overwhelmed by this fellowship. It's not so sad that today is the last day, but still it feels somewhat, I'm missing out on something. And thanks for this experience and also letting me participate in this. I have learned so much from so many great women and men who have participated with equal zeal and equal interests like us. This brings a smile on our face that even men are participating, even men are sensitive towards such things which was being ignored since ages. So thank you all. This was a great experience so far. So thank you, ma'am.
I think now we have our own community. So even after the course, we are going to be a part of the community of women who are like striving for the gender justice. No, we'll cross each other's paths. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Arpita ji. Arushi ji, would you like to go next?
Sure. Sorry, I'm outside, so there might be some background noise. I think I'm really grateful for the opportunity to be here and having interacted with such an empathetic community, and I really felt like I was part of a safe space where we were not just like-minded, but we were willing to learn from each other. I really appreciated Dr. Shalu Nigam ma'am's presentations and such a comprehensive brief on so many topics. And to be honest, like I've been working in the field now. First, I was a Teach for India fellow. Now I've been working with the Delhi Commission for Women, and this just kind of reminded me of like I was back in my college days studying sociology, and it reminded me of those lectures and that feeling of having a community with you, of just learning, and also reminded me that no matter how much we feel that okay, we've seen a lot on ground, there is still so much yet to learn, and we have so much to like there's so much experience out there from experienced professionals like everyone we got to hear from in this course, and even peers our age, that it's really important to just keep interacting with people and learning. So thank you so much for that, and I loved Spalsh's presentation today. It was really beautiful. I wish I could write poetry. That is so poignant and so beautiful. And yeah, I'm looking forward to reading everyone's essays. Thank you. Thank you, Vibhuti ma'am, for all the guidance you gave me on my essay.
Most welcome.
Thank you so much, Arushi ji. Do we have a volunteer for the next one? Anybody would like to go? Bharti ji, we have with us.
Yes. Of course, my experience is very similar to what others have experienced so far. There's been learning here, and I think that is what I came here for, to learn, and learning I did. So I think it served the purpose that I seeked when I joined IMPRI. And because I had background to this, I think I was looking forward to something new, and that was delivered. I can't say that about a lot of other courses. And I think I would even include my master's in it. I did not learn as much in my master's as this was focused and learning oriented. And throughout this time when this course started and now where it's ending, it's not just the learning that happened, and my career graph also changed. Everything has been so surreal regarding the whole this field, gender-based violence for me. And I think that I come out of this course as a person who's motivated to work more here. And I'm sure ma'am doesn't remember, Vibhuti ma'am, but the first session that we had, I remember texting her personally, is there any chance of working with you? Can you let us know if there's any way that I could be a part of what you're doing? And I don't know if any of you have felt that so far, but I'm so glad to be again in this class, in this cohort, sharing a screen with all of you, getting to hear your stories, your take, your angle. Thank you for everything, all the participants here, including the ones I've interacted with and some which I haven't. Thank you for giving me this experience. And thank you, IMPRI, most importantly.
Thank you so much, Bharti ji. Next, can we have Sushant ji, if you're still with us?
Yes, I'm very much here. So whatever I have gathered from this course, IMPRI course, it's really very much heart-throbbing, and a lot of things I've learned about women. And it's really a good experience. Means I'm a science background student. So how arts is equally important, that I've learned. I'm getting technology in my startup, but how art subject can be so impressive and it can be so overwhelming for anyone. I could learn from it. I'm really thankful to Vibhuti ma'am. I'm really thankful to Shalu ma'am. I'm really thankful to Arjun sir and all of you, all the participants. We should get in touch and we should have a cohort forever. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Sushant ji. Debarti ji, if you were with us, would you like to say a few words? Or I can read out what she said in the chat box. Debarti ji says that I'm really glad to have been a part of this fellowship. This was an absolutely amazing and enriching 1 month. Thanks to everyone in the cohort for being such a great group and supportive of each other. Okay, yeah, she's mentioned she's unable to speak right now. It's okay. Yeah, sure. Astha ji, would you like to go ahead?
Yeah, like I've not prepared anything like to speak as such, but the fact like there is something little from each session that grew the knowledge that I had. And I'm a student in TY BA right now, and the fact that this knowledge helps me grow my self-confidence, and like I'm able to add on to some discussion that's happening, and that addition is not just repetition but some new nuance that I'm able to bring in because of what I've heard in the sessions by the experts in this course. And also the fact that the legal hands-on sessions that were there, uh, legal is a space where I don't think everyone pays much attention to, just like legal, hear what that is and then run away in the opposite direction. But you know, the nuances of what happens exactly in that space, why does the law not work out the way we think it should or it does? uh, I think it helps us no matter what field we are in, because we read news, we are supposed to read news every day, and we are able to understand how it's working. And all of this knowledge makes me feel good about myself as well, that oh, this is not something now everyone will be able to understand what I am because of what I've heard in this course. And this confidence helps, especially as a student who's not able to speak up much. But all knowing this helps. So I would like to thank the IMPRI team and everyone that is able to help me with that. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Astha Baji. I think we are through with all the participants who are present here today. I think we have something from Sushant Jhaji has raised his hand. Sushant sir, you can go ahead.
Ma'am, can we get an alumni status of IMPRI for this cohort, or there should be a WhatsApp group so that, you know, we all stay together and this will remain forever. That is what I would like to
understand. Good idea. Very good. Extremely innovative idea of creating an alumni group of IMPRI. I think, yeah, we need to have a community of our own. I think I am positive about it, but IMPRI team has to decide. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Shashanji. We have Shaluman's comments on the session on the chat box. So Shaluman says that thanks to Dr. Arjun Kumarji and Dr. Simi Mehtaji, Professor Vibhuti Patelji for organizing this event, and thank you to all the participants for sharing their beautiful and creative ideas. Thank you so much, ma'am. If anybody else would still like to say a few words, please feel free to do so. You can raise your hand and you can just go ahead, I guess. We'll take a minute or so in case anybody wants to, and then we'll proceed forward. Vaishali ji, would you like to say something?
Yeah, hi. So as part of this course, hearing all the participants' experience and the way they have creatively put forward their personal experience through creative ideas, I feel we have successfully, raised the bar of our course this time, and we're looking forward to more fellowship experiences and more courses on this, and further participation from the such creative ways, and a very good idea from Shushanji of creating an alumni network, and we'll definitely keep that into account, and we'll try to build on that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vaishali ji. Vidita ji, would you like to go ahead?
Yes, thank you so much for allowing me to speak. I just want to say that when we were planning the course and we were thinking of including some sort of creative component in it, we were a little skeptic of how certain academics or scholarly people would perceive of it and how far we could be able to achieve that idea. But I think we have achieved a certain benchmark, and perhaps from here onwards, it's only going to grow higher and more better with the kind of works we have received, the kind of presentation, people coming up with their own stories, own narratives, or taking up the space to voice out someone else's narratives who do not have the same similar space. So I think this is a beginning of a community formation, and as Shashank sir said, that yes, we will figure out the logistics of it and how we can proceed with creating an alumni group, and perhaps hence forward, there is a new avenues for us to discover as a team. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vidita ji. I would also like to say a few words since I had the opportunity to host this program today. And so far, this entire program has been hosted by Sweta. She's done a good job. And I'd like to say that from both of us, this has been an incredibly important, relevant, and just an extremely honorable opportunity to be here and to moderate this event with Sweta. And I agree with Rithita, Vishali, everybody that the enthusiasm that all the participants have shown has been great. The creativity has just surpassed our expectations for sure. We're really grateful for. We had the whole spectrum. We had the personal experiences. We had the technicals being discussed, the legal hands-on sessions. It had emotional value. It had basically everything. It has been a lovely experience individually as well. And I believe I can say from Sweta and my side also that it's been an, once of a chance, I guess, an opportunity to be here. So thank you very much for that. With that being said, I'd like to request Vibhuti ma'am. She would like to give her closing remarks for this entire program.
I think for the entire program, I have already summarized the sessions, and the only one thing I have to say that all the resource persons have put their heart and soul and academic excellence and intellectual rigor and the robust analytical vision in their presentations. I think I need not repeat it. And the same thread, today's valedictory address was also on the same wavelength of sensitivity and sensibility. I would just like to, because everyone is expressing their creative energy, so I would like to end today's session with my favorite poem by Maya Angelou, Still I Rise. It goes like this. You may write me down in history with your bitter and twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? Because I walk like you have got oil wells pumping in my living room, just like moons and like suns, with the certainty of tides, just like hope springing high, still I'll rise. Did you want to see me broken, bowed head and lowered highs, shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries? Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard? 'Cause I laugh like I have got gold mines digging in my own backyard. You may not shoot me with your words. You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness. But still, like air, I'll rise. Does my sexiness upset you? Does it come as a surprise that I dance like I have got diamonds at the meeting of my thighs? Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from the past that is rooted in pain, I rise. I'm a black ocean, leaping and wide, welling and swelling, I bear in the tide. Living behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Onto the daybreak that's wondrously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave. I am the dream, I hope of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise. Thank you. Over to IMPRI.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for inspiring us as always. And it's such an honor to just be with you always. Thank you so much, ma'am. This has been a smooth sailing session, I must say. And before we conclude the session, we have Vaishali Ji with us who would like to uh, tell us how to move forward from here. Vaishali Ji, if you'd like to take over.
Thank you, Priyanka. Before we close up with the program, I would just like to highlight that we are supposed, like the participants are supposed to submit their research essays. They've already submitted the abstract and they have got their feedback from Vibhuti ma'am and Shalu ma'am as well. So moving forward with the research essay, we have provided you with the course document in your email. And in that, we have given you the details of the research essay, which includes the word limits, which is supposed to be 3,000 to 4,000 words. And also what the body of the research essay should include as the major components, which should be the introduction, background to the topic, which clearly underlines the purpose, aim of the research essay, the main body highlighting the investigation, study, analysis, followed by review, findings, recommendation, and conclusions. You can also use photographs, graphs, or anything that you feel is relevant with respect to your research in the annexures. Also, we have given you a few tips about how to go about with the research essay. Along with that, we have above this, we have provided you with the research essay guidelines, which includes the styles guideline, which is the citation guideline, which will include the formatting of the research essay as well. And the deadline for submitting your research essay is Jan 2nd, 2024. If anybody is not able to meet the deadline, you can always reach out to us at our email address, which is learning@impri.gmail.com, where we can address your query or if any problem you're facing. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vaishali Ji. I hope it is clear for all the participants. You can also go through to the guideline document that we have shared with you. Ma'am, with your permission, can we go ahead with the formal vote of thanks?
Yes. Yeah. And
Sure,
I'm
ma'am.
also, I think, attaching the Maya Angelou's poem in the chat box.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you so much. I hope it's clear to everybody. Ma'am is attaching the poem in the chat box. So as we come to the end of day 6 of Law and Public Policy Youth Fellowship Cohort 2.0, an online national winter school program, a 1-month immersive online law and public policy awareness certificate training course and internship program, I, Priyanka Negi, researcher at IMPRI, Impact and Policy Research Institute, New Delhi, would like to propose the formal vote of thanks. We are grateful to our experts for today's session, Professor Vibhuti Patel ji, Advocate Dr. Shalu Nigam ji, and Professor Vina Vaswani ji, for taking out their valuable time and giving us the opportunity to learn from this online certificate program. We thank our chair, Professor Vibhuti Patel ji, and lead advisor, Advocate Dr. Shalu Nigam ji, for convening the session. We thank all of our participants who have raised pertinent questions and have actively participated in today's deliberation and throughout the program. We are grateful if you're watching us later on YouTube or listening to us on our various podcasts or reading our publications. We hope you continue to join us in future as well.
They have been shared. All
Ma'am,
the
they
videos have been
just,
shared, no? Priyanka?
yes, we're sharing
Two of
videos.
them have been shared in a public domain,
Yes.
Flavia's lecture and Vaida's lecture. Others have been shared with the participants, I think. But once again, I think all 6 can be, the link can be given in one email so that they have it. Right.
Sure, ma'am.
Thank you from all of us to IMPRI team. Yeah, thank you.